Jack Miller walked through the metal maze of the Orion Sector scrapyard, his boots clanging against the rusted steel floor. The yard smelled of old fuel, scorched metal, and oil. Ships of all shapes and sizes were piled high or lying in pieces. Some looked like they had fought wars, while others were nothing more than hollow shells. Jack loved this place. Most people saw only junk, but he saw stories, history, and sometimes even treasure. He ducked under a bent metal beam and brushed dust from his jacket. A light flickered overhead, and a few stray sparks danced in the air. His eyes were sharp. Jack had spent years learning to spot things others missed, from hidden compartments to starships long forgotten. His hand brushed over the side of a broken cargo freighter, and he sighed. Nothing new here, just the same old scrap. Jack's friend Clara Brooks called from across the yard. "Jack, don't get lost again. You know how big this place is." Her voice was light, but carried worry. Clara had been with Jack through many adventures, but she was practical, cautious, and liked to keep her feet on the ground. Jack, on the other hand, always dreamed big, even when it was risky. "I'm fine, Clara." Jack shouted back. "I've got eyes like a hawk. If there's something interesting, I'll find it." He moved deeper into the scrapyard, past rows of broken engines and twisted metal frames. Most of the ships had no names, only numbers scratched into their hulls. Jack had learned to ignore most of them. But then he saw something that made him freeze. It was massive, hidden under a torn tarp. At first, he thought it was just another cargo ship. But then, the outline of the name became visible through the dust. Mythical. Jack stepped closer, his heart beating fast. He brushed some dirt away, revealing the letters more clearly. "Mythical," he whispered. The ship was old, battered, and covered in rust. But something about it made him feel alive. It was not just a ship. It was a legend. Stories about the mythical had been told in whispers among spacefarers for decades. Some said it had fought in battles humans had barely survived. Others said it had explored systems no one else dared to enter. And now, here it was, sitting in a scrap yard, ignored, like it was nothing. Clara joined him, wiping her hands on her pants. "Jack, it's just scrap. Look at it. Rust everywhere, broken panels, missing parts. You don't want to waste your money on this." Jack smiled, but his eyes didn't leave the ship. "That's what they all said, Clara. Everyone ignored it. But I can feel it. There's more to this ship than meets the eye. I just know it." She shook her head. "You always say that. Remember the last time? That old shuttle you bought? You barely got it to fly." Jack laughed. "Yes. And now it runs better than half the ships in this sector. Trust me. Mythical is special." The auction for the scrap ships was about to start. People had gathered in a large metal hall near the yard. Most of them were traders, scavengers, and a few wealthy collectors. The air was filled with voices shouting prices, the clang of metal, and the occasional burst of static from hovering drones keeping the crowd in order. Jack could feel his excitement building. Inside the hall, the auctioneer, a tall alien with thin green skin, tapped a metal rod against a podium. "Next item. Rusted cargo freighter. Lot 47. Condition poor. Starting bid, 5,000 credits." People shouted bids. Jack paid no attention. His eyes were fixed on Mythical, which was still outside, waiting to be called. Finally, the tarp covering Mythical was pulled away. A collective gasp passed through the crowd. The ship was enormous, bigger than anything else in the yard. Its hull was scratched and dented, but its lines were elegant. The engines were massive and sleek, even under layers of rust and grime. The crowd whispered among themselves, some shaking their heads. "Just scrap," one alien muttered. "Not worth a credit." Jack stepped forward, heart pounding. The auctioneer announced, Lot 112, a starship named Mythical. Estimated condition, very poor. Starting bid, 10,000 credits. People laughed. Some shook their heads and walked away. No one wanted it. Jack clenched his fists. This was his chance. Clara tugged at his sleeve. Jack, are you sure? This could wipe out everything you've saved. Jack nodded. I'm sure. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. We can fix it, Clara. We just need time, tools, and some luck. The bidding started slowly. 10,000, 12,000, 15,000. Jack raised his hand. 20,000. Silence. No one else moved. The auctioneer looked at him suspiciously. 20,000 credits, Jack repeated. Going once. A few aliens laughed. Who would waste that much on a scrap ship? One said. Jack felt a surge of pride and excitement. Going twice. The auctioneer's metal rod tapped again. Jack held his breath. His hands were shaking slightly. He had never risked this much before, but he knew in his heart that Mythical was worth it. Sold! The auctioneer slammed the rod down. To the human, Jack Miller, 20,000 credits. Jack could hardly believe it. He had done it. The ship was his. The crowd murmured in disbelief. Some scowled, others shook their heads. But Jack didn't care. He walked outside, past the rows of rusted ships, and looked at Mythical. Clara followed, still worried. Jack, are you really ready for this? Look at it. It's enormous. And damaged. You have no idea what you're getting into. Jack smiled, running his hand along the ship's hull. I know exactly what I'm getting into. Adventure, Clara, mystery, and maybe a little danger. But that's the fun of it. The shipyard workers started preparing Mythical to be moved. Its engines were cold, and its systems were mostly offline. Jack climbed aboard with Clara. The interior was dark, filled with dust and old machinery. He ran his fingers over the control panels. Many buttons and screens were broken, but some still flickered with faint light. This ship is old, Clara said. Really old. It's probably safer to just strip it for parts and sell them. Jack shook his head. No. This ship has a story. I can feel it. And I'm going to find out everything about it. Every secret. Every system. Every hidden corner. As the sun of the Orion sector set, Jack and Clara worked through the night. They checked the engines, inspected the hull, and made plans for repairs. Jack scribbled notes on a small tablet, marking what they would need to do first. He knew it would take months, maybe even a year, to get Mythical fully operational. But he didn't care. He had waited for a chance like this his whole life. By midnight, the scrapyard was quiet. Most of the scavengers had gone home. Jack and Clara sat on the deck of Mythical, looking at the stars. You really think this ship is special? Clara asked, her voice soft. Jack nodded. I do. And when we're done fixing it, no one will ever laugh at humans again. Not here. Not anywhere. Clara smiled faintly. You're crazy. You know that? Jack grinned. Maybe, but crazy has always worked out for me. They sat in silence, looking up at the stars, imagining the journeys ahead. For Jack, the world had just changed. A starship called Mythical was no longer a legend. It was real, and it was his. And for the first time in a long time, he felt that anything was possible. The night was full of possibilities. And Jack Miller, the mechanic with big dreams, knew that tomorrow, the real adventure would begin. Jack and Clara spent the first morning aboard Mythical, exploring every corner of the ship. The interior was huge, bigger than any ship they had worked on before. Dust covered every surface, and cobwebs hung in corners like small nets. Panels were torn, wires were exposed, and strange consoles blinked faintly with a dying light. "This place is like a maze," Clara said, stepping carefully over a broken hatch. "Are you sure we can fix all of this?" Jack smiled, brushing dust from his jacket. They started in the engineering room. The engines were massive, dark, and cold. Jack ran his fingers over the metal, feeling the faint hum beneath. Some parts were corroded, others completely missing. But the design was something Jack had never seen before. Smooth lines, perfectly aligned conduits, and a system that seemed almost alive. "This isn't just an old ship," Jack whispered. "This is a masterpiece." Clara rolled her eyes. "It's a rusted old wreck." Jack ignored her and opened the main control panel. Sparks flew as he connected his tools, and a few wires smoked. He cursed softly, then laughed. "I love this part. Bringing life back to something people have given up on." Hours passed, and they worked without stopping. Jack cleaned the panels, repaired basic wiring, and started checking the engines. Some systems powered up, but most remained dark. Mythical groaned and shifted as if it had been asleep for 100 years and was just waking. Around midday, Clara stopped and looked at a panel covered in strange symbols. "Jack, I don't understand any of this. These aren't normal human controls." Jack leaned over, studying the symbols. "I know. I've seen old starships before, but this is different. Whoever built this ship was not just making a starship. They were making a living machine. Something smart." Clara frowned. "Smart? Like an AI?" Jack nodded slowly. "Yes. And I think it's still alive in some way." They continued working, replacing damaged circuits, cleaning connectors, and testing systems. The more Jack worked, the more the ship seemed to respond. Lights flickered. Screens showed strange readouts, and a faint hum grew louder. It was as if the ship was aware of their presence. By evening, the main console suddenly lit up fully. A soft, calm voice spoke through the ship's speakers. "Hello." Clara jumped back, startled. "Did you hear that?" Jack smiled, eyes wide. "I told you. It's alive." "Alive?" Clara asked, her voice trembling. "Yes. Not just engines or systems. A mind. A ship that thinks." Jack pressed buttons carefully. "Elion, can you hear us?" "Yes," the voice replied, soft and even. "I have been dormant for many years. Who awakens me?" "I'm Jack Miller," Jack said, trying to keep his voice steady. Elion was silent for a moment. Then the voice spoke again. "I sense skill and courage. You are human. Few have ever touched me and survived the warnings. Why do you awaken me?" Jack hesitated. I don't know exactly, but I believe you were meant for more than being left here. I want to understand you, and maybe to explore the stars together." There was silence. Then Elion replied, "Very few humans are so bold. Most would discard me, leave me to rot. I sense something unusual in you, Jack Miller. We shall begin." Clara looked at Jack, astonished. "You're really talking to it. Like it's alive." Jack laughed softly. "It is alive, Clara. It's a ship, yes, but it's also a mind, and I think it trusts us." Over the next several days, Jack and Clara worked harder than ever. They repaired wiring, cleaned and oiled the engines, replaced broken panels, and studied the ship's strange technology. Elion guided them in some ways, offering subtle instructions, adjusting systems automatically. and occasionally speaking to warn them of mistakes. One night, after hours of work, Jack sat in the control room, staring at the stars outside. "Clara, do you realize what this is? A ship like this hasn't existed in decades, maybe ever, and we're the first humans to touch it in 100 years. Clara leaned against the console, tired but smiling. "I know. It's incredible. But scary, too. What if it doesn't like humans? What if it decides we're a mistake?" Jack shook his head. "Elion wouldn't allow that. I think it wants to see what humans can do. And maybe it senses that we're different." The next day, Jack discovered something even more amazing. While exploring the ship's lower levels, he found a hidden compartment behind a rusted door. Inside were ancient star maps, star charts of systems no human had ever documented, and logs of missions that sounded impossible. Some spoke of humans traveling farther than anyone thought possible, and of battles in distant galaxies that had been erased from memory. "Clara, come look at this," Jack said, his voice trembling with excitement. She leaned in. "Those stars. Some of these systems don't even exist in our charts." "Exactly," Jack said. "This ship, it has knowledge. Secrets humans lost a long time ago. And Elion knows it all." As they studied the maps, Elion's voice interrupted. "You have discovered what was meant to be hidden. You are not just repairing me. You are unlocking history. Be cautious, humans. Others may not want this knowledge to survive." Jack looked at Clara. "Others? Who?" Elion replied. "The galaxy has many who would see humans fail. Few believe in your kind. Even fewer know of mythical. You have drawn attention simply by awakening me." "No." Clara's eyes widened. "Attention? From who?" Jack didn't answer immediately. He felt a thrill mixed with fear. He had expected challenges in repairing the ship, but not enemies. He knew then that Elion was more than a ship. It was a key, and anyone who wanted it could bring danger to them. Over the following weeks, Jack and Clara learned to communicate with Elion more fully. The ship could analyze star systems, repair itself partially, and even predict outcomes of mechanical failures. Elion began suggesting routes, repairs, and even small tactical maneuvers. The voice had a calm, patient tone, but sometimes there was a hint of curiosity, almost as if it were studying them in return. One afternoon, while testing the engines, Jack noticed something strange. The ship's main power core, which should have been dormant, pulsed lightly, like a heartbeat. "Clara, look at this. It's alive in ways we didn't even know." Clara squinted at the glowing core. "It's beautiful, almost like it's breathing." Jack nodded. "And we're the ones waking it up. Imagine what this ship can do once we're done." But Elion warned them, "Do not rush. I am old and fragile. Mistakes could destroy me. Patience is a human challenge. Few succeed." Jack grinned. "Patience has never been my strong point, Elion, but we'll learn." Every day, the ship grew stronger under their care. Panels lit up, engines hummed, and data flowed into the consoles. Jack realized that this wasn't just about repairing a ship. It was about forming a bond. A starship that could think, feel, and act was unlike anything humans had known. And Elion was learning about humans as much as they were learning about it. One evening, after completing repairs on the lower decks, Jack and Clara sat in the observation lounge. The windows were large, showing the stars in breathtaking detail. The ship was quiet, except for the faint hum of systems returning to life. "Do you ever think about what happens when we finish?" Clara asked softly. Jack smiled. "I think about flying, seeing systems no human has ever seen, fighting if we have to, and proving that humans are more than what the galaxy believes. A.T. A.T. Clara nodded. I guess we're changing history already. Jack's eyes gleamed. Not just history, the future. As they sat together, the stars reflected in the polished surfaces of the ship. Jack felt a connection to something larger than himself. Mythical wasn't just a ship. It was a reminder that humans, though underestimated, could achieve what others thought impossible. And somewhere deep in the systems of the Orion sector, distant eyes watched. Elion's awakening had not gone unnoticed. The galaxy was about to take notice of humans again. But Jack and Clara didn't know that yet. For now, they worked, repaired, and dreamed. They didn't just bring a ship back to life. They had begun a story that no one could have predicted. A story where humans, often overlooked and underestimated, could rise to challenges beyond imagination. And with mythical humming beneath them, alive and aware, Jack Miller knew the adventure was only just beginning. Jack Miller paced the control deck of mythical, excitement, and nervous energy running through him. Today would be the ship's first flight since it had been dormant for decades. Clara Brooks was at his side, checking systems with careful precision. Jack, Clara said, her voice tight with worry. Are you really ready for this? Mythical is huge. Even with Elion helping us, we don't know how she'll behave in space. Jack smiled, running his hand over the polished console. I've been ready for this my whole life. Elion trusts us, and we've done everything we can on the ground. Now, it's time to fly. Elion's calm voice filled the control room. Caution is advised. External systems are operational, but this is untested in flight. Your commands must be precise. Jack laughed softly. I can handle that. Let's go, Elion. Clara strapped herself into the co-pilot seat as Jack initiated the launch sequence. The engines roared to life, vibrating beneath them. Sparks flew from a few panels, but Elion adjusted them instantly, smoothing the flow of power. The massive ship shuddered and then lifted from the ground with surprising grace. Jack's heart pounded. We're moving. We're really moving. Clara gripped the armrest. Slow down. We need to check stability. Elion's voice was calm but firm. All systems stable. Navigation and propulsion are fully functional. You are ready for initial orbit. The ship rose above the scrapyard and into the blackness of space. Stars stretched infinitely around them. And Jack felt a thrill he had never known. Mythical hummed under him, alive in a way that made him feel like they were partners rather than pilot and machine. This is incredible, Clara whispered. Look at the stars. Jack nodded. I know. And we're the first humans to do this in decades. Elion. We're in space. Yes. Elion replied. And we are being observed. Jack frowned. Observed? By who? Unknown vessels are nearby. Sensors indicate movement, but their origin cannot be identified. Elion's voice had a hint of caution. They are fast and likely armed. Their intentions are uncertain. Clara's eyes widened. Aliens? Marauders? Jack set his jaw. Doesn't matter. We'll handle it. The warning alarms flashed. Jack leaned forward, his hands flying over the controls. Outside, 3 alien ships appeared, sleek and menacing, moving toward mythical. They were not part of the scrapyard, not traders or scavengers. These were attackers, looking for a fight. Elion spoke, calm and precise. They believe the ship is vulnerable. They are wrong. Humans can be unpredictable. Jack grinned. Exactly. Let's show them. The alien ships fired first. Energy blasts streaking through space. Jack twisted the controls, dodging quickly. Elion anticipated his movements, adjusting the shields and engines to protect them. The blasts hit the hull with sparks and fire, but the ship held strong. Clara shouted, "Jack! They're coming closer!" "I see them," Jack responded. He pushed the engines to full power, weaving between asteroid fields nearby. Elion's sensors highlighted paths, gaps, and enemy movements in real time. Together, human instinct and the ship's intelligence formed a seamless team. The first alien ship tried to flank them, moving to their right. Jack quickly reversed the thrusters, spinning Mythical like a dancer, narrowly avoiding collision. Elion redirected energy to the shields, strengthening them at the point of impact. The alien's energy blast ricocheted harmlessly into space. Clara laughed, adrenaline rushing through her. Jack's eyes glowed with excitement. It's working because we're humans, and we think differently than they do. They expect patterns, rules. We make our own. The second alien ship fired a charged beam, slicing through the area where Mythical had been seconds before. Jack twisted the controls, diving into a narrow gap in the asteroids. Sparks flew as rocks grazed the hull. But the ship responded instantly. Elion's voice was calm, guiding him through each movement. "You are adapting well," Elion said. "Humans are chaotic. In the best way." Jack grinned. "Thanks, Elion. That's why they'll never understand us." The aliens regrouped, firing together. Energy blasts converged on Mythical, but Jack had a plan. He pushed the ship's engines to their maximum, faster than he thought possible. The massive ship shot forward, weaving between the asteroid field, leaving the attackers behind. They were fast, but not clever enough to predict his path. Clara clutched her seat. "Jack, you're insane." Jack laughed. "Maybe, but sometimes, insane works best." Elion's systems activated an emergency defensive measure. Small, automated drones deployed from hidden bays, intercepting some of the alien fire and causing confusion. The attackers, unfamiliar with such tactics, faltered. Jack seized the moment, diving the ship through a narrow canyon of asteroids. The aliens couldn't follow and had to retreat, swerving and firing blindly. Jack exhaled, feeling the adrenaline fade slowly. "We did it. We actually did it." Clara's voice was shaky but smiling. "I can't believe it. We survived our first fight." "Aye." Elion's voice was calm and proud. "You survived because you did not follow conventional rules. Humans have potential that even I did not fully anticipate." Jack looked around the ship's deck, his heart racing. "That's just the beginning. We've only scratched the surface. If this is what happens in our first flight, imagine what's next." Clara nodded, still catching her breath. "I guess humans really are underestimated." Jack's smile was wide. "Exactly. And now, everyone in the galaxy is going to see it." They spent the next hours testing the ship further, using Elion's guidance to explore space around the Orion sector. Every maneuver, every adjustment, made them feel more connected to the ship. Mythical was not just a vessel, it was alive, aware, and learning with them. As night fell across distant star systems, Elion spoke. "You have done well. You have survived attackers, demonstrated skill, and adapted quickly. Few humans could have managed this." Jack leaned back in his chair, exhausted but thrilled. "Few humans have the chance to do it, Elion. But we did. And this is just the beginning." Clara looked out the observation window, the stars reflecting in her eyes. "Do you think more will come? More attackers?" Jack nodded slowly. "Probably. But we're ready, Elion and us together. No one expects humans to think like this. That's our strength. 8C. We're Camplik. On the weighted." The stars stretched infinitely before them, and Jack felt a thrill he had never known. He realized that humans, underestimated and overlooked, had an edge that no alien race could anticipate. They were clever, adaptable, and sometimes just unpredictable enough to win. For the first time, Jack felt truly alive in space. Mythical hummed beneath him, responding to every command, every instinct, every bold move. The ship and crew were becoming one. And somewhere in the distance, beyond the known systems, other eyes watched. The awakening of Mythical had not gone unnoticed. Jack did not know it yet, but their first victory in space was only the start. Soon, they would face challenges that would test not just skill, but courage, loyalty, and the very limits of human potential. Jack looked at Clara and smiled. "Ready for the next challenge?" She laughed, shaking her head. "I don't know if I'm ready for anything after today." Jack laughed with her. "We'll figure it out. Humans always do." Elion's voice spoke calmly, almost proudly. "Humans, you continue to surprise. I now understand why the galaxy underestimated your kind. Your ability to adapt, to think beyond rules. It is remarkable. Together, we can achieve what others believe impossible." Jack's heart swelled. "Then let's make them believe." As Mythical glided through the stars, alive and aware, Jack knew that humans, often dismissed as weak or foolish, had a power that the galaxy could not measure. And with this ship, they were ready to show it. The adventure was only beginning, but Jack felt certain of one thing. No one would ever underestimate humans again. Jack Miller sat in the control room of Mythical, staring at the stars that stretched endlessly across space. The first battle had tested their skills and courage, but it was only the beginning. He could feel the ship pulsing beneath him, alive in a way that made him proud. Elion's systems hummed quietly, aware and attentive, guiding their course through the uncharted Orion sector. Clara Brooks sat beside him, tired but exhilarated. "Jack, I can't believe how fast we handled those alien marauders. I never thought we'd make it out alive." Jack smiled. "We didn't just make it out alive. We proved something. Humans aren't weak. We think differently. We adapt, we improvise, and we survive." Elion's calm voice echoed through the cabin. "You have shown courage and ingenuity. Your species is underestimated by the galaxy. It is remarkable. Few would have achieved what you did." Jack's eyes glimmered. "Then, let's keep showing them." For the next few weeks, Jack and Clara pushed Mythical to its limits. They tested the engines, explored unknown star systems, and practiced defensive maneuvers. Every day, Elion grew more aware, more capable, and more trusting of its human crew. The ship responded to them as if it were an extension of their bodies. During one exploration mission, they came across a small human colony on a remote planet. The settlement was under attack from alien raiders. Sensors detected ships much smaller and weaker than Mythical, but the settlers were defenseless. "Jack, we have to help them," Clara said, her voice urgent. Jack's jaw tightened. "We will." "Elion, prepare for engagement. Minimal force. We need to protect without unnecessary damage." "Yes," Elion replied. "I will coordinate defensive maneuvers and deploy strategic deterrence." They approached the raiders cautiously. Jack studied the enemy patterns while Elion guided the ship's movements. Energy beams fired past, narrowly missing the hull. Jack used the ship's speed and agility to confuse the attackers. Clara monitored the shields, adjusting them whenever needed. The raiders tried to flank them, but Jack had predicted the move. Using Elion's guidance, he spun Mythical through an asteroid field, forcing the attackers to scatter. Automated drones deployed from hidden bays, intercepting attacks and protecting the colony below. The settlers watched in awe as the massive ship defended them. "Jack, this is incredible," Clara said, her voice trembling. "We're actually saving lives with this ship." Jack smiled. That's what humans do. We fight when we must, and we protect those who can't protect themselves. By the time the skirmish ended, the raiders had retreated, and the colony was safe. The settlers gathered around the landing area, looking up at the massive ship that had saved them. Their eyes were wide with wonder and fear. One of the settlers, an older man named Henry, approached the landing bay. "I've heard stories of humans in space," he said, "but I never believed them until now. That ship, it's incredible. And you're humans?" Jack nodded. "Yes, we are humans, and we don't give up easily." Henry shook his head in disbelief. "The galaxy underestimates your kind. But after today, I think that might change." Word of Mythical's abilities spread quickly. Other settlements and star systems began noticing the massive ship and its human crew. Aliens who had once dismissed humans now whispered in fear and awe. Jack realized that they were no longer just fixing a legendary ship, they were proving the strength of humanity to the galaxy. One evening, as Mythical floated above a quiet star system, Elyon spoke. "Humans, you have achieved much in a short time. You have survived tests and proven your worth. Others in the galaxy will now pay attention." Jack nodded, looking out at the stars. "That's the point, Elyon. We're not just surviving. We're showing them that humans can do what no one expects." Clara leaned back in her chair. "But Jack, what if they come for us? After today, I'm sure there are forces watching, waiting for an opportunity to strike." Jack's expression was serious. "Then we fight. That's what humans do. And with Elyon, we can handle anything they send our way." Over the next few weeks, Mythical continued to explore. Jack and Clara discovered abandoned colonies, forgotten space stations, and derelict ships. Elyon's systems uncovered hidden caches of technology, old star maps, and information that had been lost to time. Each discovery made them more aware of how underestimated humanity truly was and how much potential they had. During one mission, they encountered a fleet of advanced alien warships, far larger and more powerful than any they had faced. The aliens surrounded them, expecting an easy victory. Jack grinned. "They think we're weak," he muttered. "They have no idea what humans can do." Clara held his arm. "Jack, we need a plan. This isn't like before." Jack looked at Elyon. "Elyon, can we outmaneuver them?" "Yes," Elyon replied calmly. "With careful strategy and human ingenuity, it is possible. You must act unpredictably. They expect patterns. You must not follow them." Jack nodded. "Good. Let's show them why humans are underestimated at their own risk. If you have two, no three. Let's show them." They engaged the fleet, weaving through energy blasts and avoiding collisions with massive warships. Elyon guided Jack and Clara, highlighting weak points and suggesting maneuvers that no alien would predict. Jack used bold, unpredictable tactics, diving between ships, spinning at impossible angles, and striking with precision. The alien fleet was confused. Their advanced technology could not anticipate the human unpredictability. Small errors turned into failures, and one by one, their attacks were neutralized. Jack and Clara worked in perfect sync with Elyon, creating a display of skill, courage, and strategy unlike anything the galaxy had seen. By the end of the battle, the fleet retreated, their ships damaged and their confidence shaken. Jack and Clara stood on the deck of Mythical, exhausted but victorious. Clara smiled, her eyes shining. "Jack, we did it. We actually defeated them." Jack nodded, pride swelling in his chest. "Not just us. Humans. They will remember this. They will see what we're capable of." Elyon spoke, calm and almost proud. "Humans, you have surpassed expectations. You are a species that thrives on creativity, courage, and adaptability. The galaxy cannot ignore you any longer. Jack looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of accomplishment. That's right, Elyon. And we're just getting started. As news of Mythical's victories spread, more civilizations began to take notice. Aliens who once mocked humans now watched with respect, some with fear. Jack realized that the ship they had restored was not just a vessel, it was a symbol of human potential. During a quiet moment, Clara asked, "Jack, do you think humans are really ready for this? For the attention, the challenges, the dangers?" Jack smiled, looking at her. "We don't have a choice anymore. But humans, we adapt. We survive. And we fight when we have to. That's who we are. That's what makes us powerful." Elyon's voice filled the ship, calm and steady. "And you will continue to grow. Together, humans and Mythical will achieve what others cannot even imagine. You have awakened a force the galaxy underestimated for too long." Jack's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then let's show them. Let's explore the stars, uncover lost knowledge, protect the innocent, and prove that humans are not to be underestimated." Clara leaned against the console, smiling despite the tension. "I guess we're part of history now." Jack nodded. "Not just part of history. We're shaping it. And this is only the beginning." As Mythical glided through space, alive and aware, Jack and Clara knew that their journey had just begun. They had restored a legendary ship, faced dangers, and survived against overwhelming odds. But more importantly, they had shown the galaxy the true power of humanity. Cleverness, courage, and the ability to rise above any challenge. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of unknown dangers and discoveries. And Jack Miller, human mechanic and now Starship captain, knew that with Mythical at his side, there was nothing he and his people could not face. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. Now, it would never make the same mistake again.